For centuries, the world has turned its eyes to a small chimney atop the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. This simple flue becomes the most watched smokestack on Earth when a pope dies or resigns. The color of its smoke, either black or white, signals the outcome. It is one of the oldest, most secretive, most consequential elections in human history. It is a process steeped in tradition, prayer, political maneuvering. This is the Papal Conclave, a word that literally means "with a key," hinting at the profound secrecy that shrouds the proceedings. The election of a pope is unlike any other. There are no campaigns, no stump speeches, no public debates. Instead, a select group, the Cardinals under the age of 80, are locked away from the world. They are cut off from news, phones, and the internet. They're tasked to discern who has the spiritual fortitude, intellect, and pastoral heart to lead. The word conclave comes from the Latin phrase cum clave, meaning with a key. The name is literal. The electors, all cardinals under 80, are physically locked inside a designated area of the Vatican until they elect a new pope. This dramatic measure was instituted to ensure secrecy and speed, to keep kings, governments, and wealthy families from meddling. Voting occurs in the Sistine Chapel, surrounded by Michelangelo's frescoes, a constant reminder of accountability before God. Before entering, every cardinal takes a solemn oath promising absolute, perpetual secrecy. The oath extends to doctors, cooks, and technicians. The chapel is swept for listening devices, Wi-Fi is disabled, and jammers block cell phone signals, a cone of silence to allow candid conversation. This silence is not for theater. It allows cardinals to speak freely, to change their minds, and to vote according to conscience. The conclave is a retreat. Each ballot is not merely a vote, but a prayer that the Holy Spirit guides them. The period between the death or resignation of a pope and the election of his successor is called the interregnum, between reigns. During this time, heads of departments lose their jobs, the Camerlengo and the major penitentiary remain. The Camerlengo manages day-to-day affairs and formally verifies the pope's death. Once death is confirmed, the Camerlengo destroys the ring of the fisherman and the lead seal, symbols of the pontificate's end. Sede Vacante leaves the College of Cardinals to handle ordinary business but not decisions reserved for the Pope. Cardinals gather, prepare the conclave, and coordinate logistics. There is a delicate balance of mourning and administration. The interregnum ends the moment a new pope accepts election. Until then, the whole church waits. Papal apartments are sealed. The Swiss guards redeploy to protect Vatican City until the new pope is announced. In the days before the conclave, cardinals meet in general congregations, pre-conclave planning sessions in the Synod Hall. Presided over by the dean, they set the official start date, between 15 and 20 days after the papacy becomes vacant, and handle admin tasks. These gatherings are where cardinals get to know one another and begin forming an informal shortlist of papabili. They hear briefings on the church's finances and global challenges, material that shapes what the church needs next. Informal consultations over coffee and meals are where real politicking happens. Quiet conversations, corridor whispers, and small group persuasion. Cardinals from Asia, Africa, the Americas, and Europe explain their continent's needs, building consensus beyond a Eurocentric view. On the morning the conclave starts, the Missa pro elegendo Romano Pontifice is celebrated, televised, public, solemn. They process, chant the litany of the saints, enter the Sistine Chapel, and the doors are locked behind them. The conclave begins. Once locked inside the Sistine Chapel, the real work begins. The voting process is highly ritualized. Each cardinal elector is given a rectangular ballot with eligo in summum pontificum. I elect a supreme pontiff. Below the phrase is a blank space where the cardinal writes a name. Handwriting must be disguised and the paper folded twice into a small rectangle. One by one, in order of seniority, each cardinal approaches the altar, recites the oath, and uses a paten to slide the ballot into the urn. After all ballots are cast, scrutineers extract, read aloud the names, tally and thread ballots on a string, forming a visible chain of votes. To be elected, a candidate needs a 2/3 majority. If the ballot doesn't produce a winner, another round follows. Ballots, tally sheets, and notes are burned in a special stove in the chapel. Chemical additives used in the burning determine the smoke color that signals the result to the world below. The most famous tradition of the conclave is the smoke signal. After ballots are counted, they are burned, and the smoke tells the world the result. A long flue carries the smoke through the roof so it's visible from St. Peter's Square. If no candidate reaches 2/3, the smoke is black. Fumata nera. Traditionally, wet straw is added to create the dark plume. In modern times, chemical cartridges help produce unmistakable black smoke. Up to 4 ballots a day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, until a pope is chosen. When a candidate attains 2/3 and accepts, the fumata bianca, white smoke, goes up. The sight triggers cheering, bells peal across Rome as the church celebrates. Because gray smoke once caused confusion, since 2005 2 stoves are used, one for ballots, one for cartridges, ensuring clarity. Despite oaths, fascinating stories from past conclaves have trickled out through diaries and anonymous accounts. In Viterbo, 1268-1271, cardinals were deadlocked for nearly 3 years. Townspeople locked them in, limited food, even removed the roof. Under pressure, they elected Pope Gregory XI, a lesson that shaped conclave rules. In 1903, the jus exclusivi, a veto from a Catholic monarch, was used to block Cardinal Rampolla, changing the result. The outrage led Pope Pius VI to abolish the right of veto, a key reform to protect conclave integrity. In 1958, white smoke briefly appeared, then turned black, fueling theories, including the Siri thesis, though historians largely dismiss it. 1978 saw 2 conclaves, John Paul I's brief pontificate, and then the election of Karol Wojtyla, John Paul II, a pivotal choice. These stories show the human drama inside closed doors, deadlocks, surprises, and the weight of history. When a candidate wins 2/3 and accepts, the dean approaches him with 2 Latin questions, acceptasne and quo nomine vis vocari. If he accepts, as almost always, he becomes pope instantly from that very moment. He announces his papal name, a tradition since the 6th century to honor a predecessor or signal direction. After acceptance, the new pope is led to the room of tears where many weep at the weight of responsibility. 3 sizes of white papal cassocks are ready. He changes into white for the first time as cardinals file forward to pay homage. The senior cardinal deacon proclaims, "Annuntio vobis gaudium magnum habemus papam." Moments later, the new pope appears and gives the Urbi et Orbi blessing, the first public act of the pontificate. The church and the world react. From jubilation to hope, a new shepherd is announced to billions. The deep secrecy of the conclave can seem anachronistic in an age of radical transparency, but its purpose is freedom. Historically, elections were manipulated by kings, noble families, and political factions, yielding compromised choices and long stalemates. Conclave isolation is a fortress keeping worldly pressures out and giving cardinals space to deliberate in conscience. Secrecy enables candor, to voice doubts, to change votes, to build consensus without public scandal. Public deliberations would freeze choices and invite scandal. Closed doors let decisions form without spectacle. Above all, the conclave is seen as sacred, guided by prayer and the Holy Spirit, not merely politics. Locked doors and solemn oaths create a spiritual retreat where the choice is entrusted to God working through the cardinals. This is an ancient procedure that endures because the stakes are not merely institutional but spiritual and global. All of this, the secrecy, the ritual, the drama, starts with that first puff of smoke. The weight of choosing a spiritual leader for over 1 billion faithful is immense. Each choice echoes through history. Rules have evolved over centuries to shield the process from worldly ambitions while preserving its spiritual core. Behind closed doors, human drama, conviction, doubt, compromise, shapes a decision with global consequences. Then the announcement, Habemus Papam. The world watches as one voice speaks for centuries of faith. Whether tradition or reform, the conclave remains a meeting of faith, history, and human judgment. As viewers, we witness an ancient ritual that still matters, a reminder that some decisions are made out of sight for reasons both sacred and practical. If you found this reveal of conclave traditions interesting, subscribe for more deep dives into history that shaped our world.